Welcome to the EatingCast. I am Chris.
And I'm Vincent. And today we're joined by CEO of Big Fork Brands, Lance Avery. Welcome.
Welcome. It's an honor to have you on. And to have such a, pretty much a celebrity, a local celebrity.
No, have go that far.
I would. I mean, you were on, what was it? You were at the Merchandise Mart just recently.
One of a kind, yeah. We were there for 4 days.
That's awesome.
It's a long 4 days.
What exactly goes on in that?
So it's an artist. It's on the 7th floor, and it's just an artist's bazaar. It's huge. It's massive. It's the entire first or that 7th floor.
Yeah.
I mean, thousands of vendors, and we're in the gourmet section where it's basically a gigantic demo, like at a store where we're feeding, sampling people, nonstop.
That's awesome.
And
4 days.
4 days, yeah, and they're long days too. And it's hard with sausage because basically I can only bring up so much.
Yeah,
I got to keep it cold. We've got coolers and it's a small booth, so it was every morning you have to go and replenish, and it's just it's break it down, clean it up. But it's great because it's meeting so many big fans of ours or potential new fans.
Yeah,
all throughout Chicago, so it's
Did you bring these products?
Oh,
these
yeah.
exact ones?
Yeah.
Well, those and our snack sticks and our
That's
sausage.
my favorite.
Oh, yeah.
He's got favorites.
What is going on?
Am I going crazy? All right. So so kind of going in line with that, to our viewers and our listeners, today, Lance actually brought us some beef jerky.
Pork.
Or pork. I'm sorry, not beef jerky. I
know.
corrected.
Well, no, it's okay. It's okay.
I always, because I'm always so used to beef.
It's kind of like Band-Aid,
Yeah.
It's
so pork jerky,
Yeah.
as well as some lovely pork sticks.
Yes.
And we just want to say thank you for providing this
course,
for
of
us.
course.
I didn't eat yet, so that's awesome. And as well as to kind of wash this all down, we got some lovely coffee.
Yeah, Starbucks.
Starbucks are still looking for that sponsorship, maybe. Well, someday.
Yeah.
But yeah, all right. So kind of going down the line, I know we took them out of the bags.
Yeah.
So
This is the maple one.
Yeah, for sure. It's always a little bit
that
darker.
glaze. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see the sweet glaze on that versus the other two that are lower in sugar.
Okay. And then
this is a spicy 3-pepper.
Okay, I like that.
And that's got, you can see the crushed red chilies.
Yep.
Yes.
And then there's black pepper, and then there's actually habaneros in there. There's a habanero powder.
Ooh.
Which it gives it heat, but it's not, I like to say it's 5 out of 10
Okay.
in the heat scale, where you can enjoy the whole bag, where it's not going to be you can't enjoy
Yeah.
a whole bag of jerky.
Okay. Awesome.
So it's not too spicy, but
So
it's always
it
good
gives
to
it
have
a
a little
kick.
water,
Alright.
Yeah.
But jerky's pretty salty because it needs to be due to its natural preservatives
Yeah.
of salt, so it dries
And
it out.
then
This is the original.
Here. That's the original?
Yep.
All right.
And these are the exact same ones in the sticks, right? I see
No, it's well, the color is the same, for the labels.
Yeah.
But it's actually they are different.
Maple and pepper.
So I basically combine a little black pepper and maple.
And then I see right over here the green ones, Thai green curry.
Yes.
That's interesting.
So actually, interesting story with the Thai green curry is that I was trying to find a curry paste without fish sauce.
Without fish sauce.
And I would love to have it, but the problem is USDA is they basically they regulate all meat products and catfish.
Catfish. Okay.
And and then FDA they regulate all vegetables, non-meat, and then all fish. So my concern was if I bring in a fish sauce or an ingredient of fish, it'd be a flag or a trigger for USDA, and it might not get approved. So the path of least resistance was to find a curry paste without fish sauce. Now, it took me over 6 months to find, and I was about to go to Thailand and actually source it myself.
Oh man!
And then I don't know how I found it, but it was probably through the interwebs. But I found out that the importer was 12 miles away from my house. I was oh wow, that's really
in Argyle, Uptown.
It's it's the western suburbs.
Oh, okay.
And so it was crazy. And so tried it out. One formulation test, and it's incredible.
It's like sweet and it's also a little salty, right?
It's
fish sauce, right?
Yeah, well,
fish
sauce is it has it, and I would love to from a flavor perspective. Like if I was just from a chef driven, I would love to use that.
Yeah.
It's just more from a regulation perspective and the headache there.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to stay away from that, which is,
awesome.
but then it's kind of weird how you think, like catfish. And I swear it's because it has the word cat in it.
Probably.
Like it's inspected through the USDA. It's one of those weird things.
Yeah, that kind of got me. Like when you said that, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
Yeah, because back in the day, I wanted to do I started this whole business with sausage, and one of the sausages I wanted to make was a bacon and salmon sausage.
Oh.
But that was my first introduction into trying to find a manufacturer that's both USDA regulated and FDA, because salmon falls under the FDA.
Yeah.
And that was when I was like, okay, hey, a couple of years later when I was doing the Tiger Green Curry, I was like, I got to stay away from this, because that was a
It was a roller coaster.
Yeah, it was that ended up in like a dead end. So
yeah. All right. So with that said, and kind of like, that's a pretty good intro.
This was really good.
Yeah. Oh God, I gotta try it. All right. So Lance, kind of what our listeners would probably like, and what we would love to hear, like kind of, if you don't mind sharing, like kind of your story, right? Like
sure.
What you did prior, kind of where you're at now, who you are, kind of like an intro of who you are.
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
Yeah.
So I've actually been in the food business my whole life. Started in high school. I was a busser. At like a buffet salad joint, and then went off. And it's funny. My first.
This is really good too.
Thank you.
I like it.
Actually, my first cooking class I took when I was 8 years old. So I kind of have always had that bug.
Yeah.
And then it kind of grew out of necessity too. I was kind of like a hungry teenager, and there wasn't a lot of parental guidance, so I was like kind of had to learn how to feed myself. And it was like nothing fancy or anything. It was like seriously cooking out of like a can and out of the freezer and whatnot, but trying to make it a little bit better. Adding spices and stuff like that. Went to college, and then went to culinary school after that. And then started working in like fine dining restaurants, and then that morphed into more of a R&D job.
Okay.
And so for the last basically 20 years, I've been doing product development for food manufacturers and ingredient companies.
Okay.
Doing like more like large scale formulations, but I've worked with like McDonald's and Long John Silver's and major like meat companies like Tyson and all those.
Yeah.
In various roles, I was working for a seasoning company for a while that works with like major food companies, and then 8 years ago I started Big Fork. And that was really, I actually started two jobs at once. I left. I was with a consulting group, a local consulting group, and started Big Fork and what I call Avery Innovations, which is the kind of the parent company, which is basically I was consulting with other food companies.
Okay.
To basically make ends meet. It's like when you start a business, you're not making any money on that, and so you're like, so I was working, basically 2 jobs full time. It was a very busy time in my life.
Okay.
And was trying to split the time 50-50, but I was probably consulting about 80% of the time. And so I had some people helping me out where they could, and that was just at that time we didn't have any jerky or sausage. Jerky or snack sticks. It was just the sausage.
Right.
And we sold mostly to food service restaurants and stuff like that. And then we got into Whole Foods.
Okay.
So we started doing the retail side. And
so you got into like Whole Foods, like the...
Yeah. And actually really that started because of our hustle. And, at the time they were really into local.
Yeah.
And we were doing a lot of farmers markets. We were doing a lot of street festivals. We also did Lollapalooza, Riot Fest. So we were out, working it during the week, but then on the weekends we were doing like what I did at One of a Kind. But this was almost every weekend, every other weekend. It was
because you still fly out every now and then, right? Because I remember when I first emailed you, you're like, yeah, I'm flying out right now.
Oh yeah.
So
And so now it's evolved. Just like most businesses, they evolve, and but we one of our major distributors is Cisco.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, it's
I'm familiar with Cisco.
Yeah, National Food Service. So they do, mostly they work with hotels and restaurants. So I do a lot of shows with them, and it takes me anywhere from Florida to Northwest to California and everywhere else. So
awesome.
So yeah, that's what I'm saying. My travel schedule in January.
Yeah,
that's where I'll be going. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool. So I do know Cisco also works with when I used to work at this place, they work with what do you call it? Swedish Children's Hospital.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they have a contract with them.
That would
Totally.
make sense. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a great. It's given us the opportunity to basically go wide, and still focus on the food service side, which is where we started the business. And so we work with small independent chefs and restaurateurs all over the nation.
So when you first started Big Fork, what was that moment you're like, I'm gonna do this, that push?
Okay, great. I love this memory. It was so I've been going to Bacon Fest in Iowa. I think this is going to be year 13 now, but I went to it when it was like the first year. I've been every single year, and I was doing this as a chef. It's just kind of like a way of seeing a couple friends from Iowa. I'm an Iowa boy.
Okay.
And also just kind of like having fun, a weekend away from the family, away from, just kind of, my buddy told me about it, and it was 150 people at a bar. I was working for Sara Lee at the time. I did this cheesecake with bacon, maple, pumpkin. Yeah, it was a bacon, maple, pumpkin cheesecake, whereas like bacon was intermixed in the actual cheesecake. It was in the crust, and it was on top.
God, I wonder what that tastes like.
Actually, I have the recipe. I think it might be on my website. I don't know. If it's not, I can throw it up there. I have it. It's great. It's delicious. But that was like 150 people at a bar. And then fast forward 3 years, they have now it's like 5,000. It's like blowing up. And I'm like, And so every year I go and I do something kind of fun. I did like Bacon Bananas Foster one year, and we were on the local news, and it was Bacon Bananas Foster.
Wait, what's Foster?
Like so you take basically a big skillet, and you have your bananas, and you create you throw in some butter, you throw in brown sugar, and then I threw in Templeton Rye whiskey.
That's my whiskey right there.
And it flamed up, and then so you just throw bacon in there.
Okay.
It was already cooked and chopped up, so it was so you have this salty, savory, sweet. And then you usually serve that over ice cream, and we served a couple thousand people in this.
Oh my god.
So
now I want dessert.
It was really good.
Oh gosh.
But it kind of dawned on me. I was like, this keeps growing, and people love bacon.
Yeah.
So I, the next year kind of was set on my, just kind of thinking about what I'm going to serve this year. And I was like, why don't I take my product development skills and actually create a product that I can actually sell? Instead of I've been doing this for other companies, for other massive national chain restaurants. For the last 15 years. Why don't I actually take one of my own ideas? And I've always kind of had an entrepreneurial spirit, but never really executed on any of these ideas. I just had a lot of ideas, and a lot of people do. That's the easiest part, is coming up with the ideas. But so I came up with this. Okay, let's take bacon and stuff it into an encased meat. Now, so I worked on this idea, like after hours, in my kitchen, and it found out that it was actually relatively difficult. It was just it's not an easy process. It's just, it was, and so that's when I knew, actually, when it was difficult, I had an idea. Like, I was like, okay, so we have some barriers of entry. It's not like anyone can do this. But I spent, it was like probably 75, 100 different attempts before I got it right. And then when I did, it was just around that time for Bacon Fest. I was like, let's present it to Bacon Fest.
Perfect.
So I had a local butcher make up my formula. And she showed up in Des Moines, picked it up, served it, and it was actually my wife's first Bacon Fest.
Oh, wow.
And she came, and she's like, wow, this is crazy. But it was after like maybe 300-400 people that have been by and were like, where can I get this? Where can I get this? Where can I get this? And I was like, oh, it's just an idea, blah, blah, blah. I turned to her and I was like, honey, I think I found my new day job.
Dang.
And then
I got goosebumps right there.
And then 2 weeks later, I quit my day job and started Big
Oh my god.
So
I love that. That spark that just gave me goosebumps.
And that was the time when I was like, damn, okay, this is something special.
Yeah.
And and I see it every like when I was at One of a Kind, when people are like, oh my god, and they love it. It's like, it reassures me to keep going, because it's not, it's still tough. We're still small, struggling business, it's not like
it's not an easy ride.
No, it's not. But I mean, I don't think it ever is. So I've just finally become comfortable with the uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go. So kind of like with your products and everything like that, like I do know, like, we talked about this a little bit over email. I believe it was the Hillshire Hogs.
Oh, the Berkshire Hogs.
Or Berkshire.
Yes.
Why did I think Hillshire?
Well, there's Hillshire brands.
Yes, that's why I was thinking of that.
Yeah.
So Berkshire Hogs.
Berkshire
Hogs.
Yeah. Berkshire or Berkshire, you can say either.
Okay.
If you're from Iowa, it's Berkshire.
Okay, got it. Sorry for all
no.
Butchering it.
I'm butchering it. That's just how I am. All right. So, what kind of what's the difference between those hogs and compared to, like, every other hog you see there?
So I mean, high level, Berkshire. It's like the Wagyu. It's known as the Wagyu of pork.
Okay.
So Wagyu is real well known in the beef world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's actually 90% of all Berkshire pork that's raised in the United States is actually exported to Japan.
Oh, really?
So Japan, they get, which is because that's where it kind of comes in that whole, Wagyu started in Japan.
And we get that.
Yeah. So there's this interesting, and it's really, I mean, Berkey's, they're really docile pigs, and they're super, they're all black, and they're just known for its excellent marbling. Like how they say with Wagyu, it's like they're marbling.
Yeah.
So it's really, the fat is like intermixed really well into the actual protein.
Yeah.
And so that's what it creates, just a different flavor characteristic. And so it's, I mean, been doing this for a while and trying different pork, and it's just, it's honestly, it's the best. I think it's the best pork on the planet. And so it's like, I want to actually support those farmers. So I work with the mostly farmers in Iowa, and they're basically these small independent guys that raise the Berkshires. They're outdoors, or they have 24-hour access to the outdoors. So being an Iowa boy, 97% of the hogs are raised in confined feedlots. So I work with the 3% that are not. So it's like, so it's very limited what I can, who I can work with. But I want to support those farmers,
right?
Because they're doing it differently. Because confined feedlots, they smell.
Yeah.
They smell, like, depending on which way the wind blows. Like, people say, "Oh, it's the smell of money." I'm like, no, it's just
that's
disgusting.
not money, bro. That's
like,
not money.
And and if there's like a massive rain, like what they had in the Carolinas, with those hurricanes that destroy, like the watershed, it just destroys. And so, if you spread out the concentration, it's way better for the communities around in Iowa. It's way better for the hogs themselves. Yeah. It's better for the environment. Yeah. So
because they don't use antibiotics either, right?
Right. And so you basically you force those any type of animal into these little confined, restricted environments. They're going to spread disease like that. But if you open them up, let them kind of just be, you don't need to use the antibiotics. So it costs more because it's less efficient.
Yeah.
They take longer to raise, and it's more area per head, but there's other ways, and I think nowadays people are starting to understand if they're going to eat meat, make sure that it's at least the right type of meat versus just any commodity. And at least I like to say, happy hogs make good tasting sausage.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's a good one. Yeah,
like if you're gonna actually eat meat, make sure that they had a good life. Yeah, that's all. Yeah. I'm just trying to see it all the way through.
Just like the cow, like they get spa days, they get massages.
Yeah, the Wagyu. Yeah, totally.
They get spa days. I didn't know that.
The Japanese cows.
Oh yeah, they drink beer.
A1 treatment.
Oh yeah, they get massages.
You get drunk beer. You get drunk beef.
Yeah, they're man. Yeah, they get.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that's why Berkshire is the Wagyu of pork.
Yeah. Nice.
So they get
now we get it.
Now
we get it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
But for hogs, obviously, I think what is it? They love the mud. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah, totally. They love to root. They love to just destroy, like a certain area of a farm, and it's part, especially in the summertime. It's just for them to keep cool.
That's just what they do.
Yeah. They're looking for grubs. So they eat, mostly corn and soybeans. Yeah. But then they're foragers as well.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, like the smart farmers that do this, they have a certain amount of head of hogs, and then they have a certain amount of chickens because they kind of work really well together.
Really?
And they don't, because certain, the chickens will eat certain things, and then the hogs will eat other, and they don't compete for that. Ooh. So it's a nice. There's some really cool farmers that do it really. There's I'll throw some videos on social media of some of the farmers I work with and just how they do it. It's kind of.
That sounds really interesting.
Yeah.
And I believe with the whole kind of hog and chicken idea, I believe you also have is there a sausage that you had?
Yes, yeah. So that's how I started the whole Big Fork was basically the first 5 years was just sausage.
Yeah.
So they use jerky and snack sticks. This is more new. This is kind of obviously jerky. It's super on trend, but no one was really doing pork, or they were doing pork, but it was all bacon jerky. Which should totally fit within, because we do a bacon sausage.
Yeah.
But I tried it all, and the weird thing about bacon jerky is that the fattiness, when it dries out, is kind of gross. I was really turned off by it. And also it has a tendency to go rancid.
Oh.
And this is getting my food science brain into the business. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. Mm-hmm. And so we use, even though it's Berkshire pork, we use inside hams, which is the leanest part of the hog, just so that I can stay away from that fattiness. But it's still, what I like to say, it's a bacon inspired jerky.
Yeah, I was gonna ask too, how much of that pig or the hog do you use? So you only use the lean part then, right?
For the jerky, I just use inside hams.
Okay.
For the snack sticks, I can use a little fattier part. So I use, actually this is a whole muscle. So these are all whole muscle. This is the other thing that's kind of what makes us different compared to other, if you'd say a Slim Jim or something like that. Mm-hmm. This is actually, I take pork picnics, which has a great fat to lean ratio, very spot on. Uh-huh. And it's the same thing with our sausage. I use bacon, and then I use pork picnics. Because it's very specific when it comes to the fat to lean ratio, so it's much more consistent.
Yeah.
So what are pork picnics?
So
I'm I was just thinking about it in my head. I'm like, pork picnics.
So it's in the hindquarter.
Yeah.
And basically it's a like when they do like pulled pork.
Yeah.
So that's what they typically use. And it's a boneless. It got only about 20% fat in it. So it works really well for these snack sticks.
That's awesome.
And so these are a little bit fattier than our jerky.
By the way, I love the jerky. It's
yeah.
really good.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
This might be my favorite. I like the maple one a lot.
It's so.
I like the what was this one? The
spicy
spicy one. Yeah.
That's my favorite too. But yeah, the maple's kind of growing on me.
Yeah.
We sell more of that on Amazon than anything else.
Okay, so where can people find your stuff?
Well, the jerky snack sticks is mostly just on our website and online. Then there's also I work with a lot of like breweries and coffee shops around town.
Which coffee shops? Yeah.
There's the coffee joint on Irving. Brew Coffee Works on Lawrence. Have you been there?
That one. Is that where Dark Matter is?
No.
Oh.
No. So Brew actually they do their own roasting.
Okay.
He actually was when I had a kitchen on Lawrence. He would actually his roasting facility was in my kitchen.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah, actually, that you should have him on as a
for sure.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
you gotta hit that guy up now.
Yeah,
and so he sells our stuff, and yeah, he makes amazing. Corey is his name. He makes amazing beans.
We love coffee too, so it's
as you can tell.
Yes, totally. You should totally because he would, and he does like the Montrose Farmers Market during the summer.
Okay.
So we. As fellow entrepreneurs, we kind of stick around and help each other.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah,
that's how it should
support each other.
Totally. And so I really love the brewing community. We work with a lot of like craft beer, or distillery.
Because one of your products has
it does
ale.
It does.
Is it white ale?
It's a wheat ale from Two Brothers. It's the Abel's Weiss.
Nice.
So yeah, we're gonna be launching that into Whole Foods starting January.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I'll probably as soon as I eat that, I'm gonna turn red. Because as soon as I have alcohol, any kind of alcohol,
I don't know. It's in at 8% of the sausage, so you're talking.
Who knows?
And I think it gets cooked out most of the alcohol.
Dude, I'll smell alcohol and I'll try it.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
I should have brought some. I had an experimental jerky. I was trying to do an old fashioned.
Ooh.
It didn't turn out that well.
No. I mean,
it's like it's a good idea on paper, but then it was like pretty strong. Like you could taste.
You can taste the whiskey.
Oh yeah. And I was like, all right, we'll table this one.
See, I'm a very big whiskey guy, so
yeah.
I'm down to try that, like hands down.
Yeah, we had an opportunity with like a liquor store. They had this like 100 chain, and they just put it on there. But it was like, yeah.
What about CBD infused?
Oh, so I went down that road too. See, and so with food, it's you leave yourself open for a whole set of legal issues. So I consulted a couple different attorneys on this, and it all kind of came back in the same kind of breath where it's like you can do it, but
you can't sell it here.
No, you could. And what I was going to do, USDA wouldn't allow it because it's all state regulated. State by state. So I'd have to find a state facility. Like, so USDA, that means that I can sell throughout multi-states. So I was going to look into like a state inspected shop to do it. And it seemed more headache than, and one piece was like, well, your competitors could just be like, slap a little lawsuit on you, and then it's like that's all I'd be dealing with for, I'm like, it's not worth it.
Some years.
Yeah, so we're just gonna. But I do have some cool new stuff coming, and I didn't bring it. I should have. I totally forgot.
Well, you can't talk about it yet, right?
I can. Why not?
Oh.
I mean, it's coming out.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really happy with it.
Do you want to talk about it?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, because in the email you were like, "There's some new stuff I can't talk about yet."
Oh, I think so. I
Okay.
think we're good.
Well, that was a while ago, though.
Yeah, now
Yeah.
we're
That's
moving.
Friday.
And the beauty is
Moving
small
fast.
and lean. We can move as fast as
Dang.
we possibly can.
Okay.
So it's a basically I'm still using the same Berkshire pork, but I'm going to be adding it's 40% plant based.
Oh.
But not like plant based that's like pea protein and coconut, palm oil or whatever. This is actually like real plants, like that come from the ground.
Oh.
Well, it's like palm oil is like they're
When you're
like,
at home,
it's like
huh?
So yeah, we're happy with the first run. We're gonna do another run probably next week, just to dial in a couple some specs on it. But its flavors are amazing. I actually cooked it up this morning. So
is this gonna be like a sausage?
yeah, it's gonna be it'll be a smoked sausage, fully cooked. Basically, it'll be both food service and retail. Well, it'll take a while for retail to get going.
Yeah.
Because we gotta get label approval, but we'll be launching our food service side next month.
Oh wow!
So
Food service, as in like
hotels, restaurants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can slap a black and white label. We can go. It's and so
that's awesome.
so that's and then I'll present it to my distributors and then
Like,
we'll
sure.
take it from there. So it's basically everyone's trying to be a little more mindful about what they eat, from a sustainability perspective. And this is just our offering to kind of work with still those family farmers that are still doing it right, raising hogs the right way. But at the same time, it's like, oh, well, maybe let's eat less meat. Well, here's a encased meat that has literally 40% vegetables in it. It's not like, these, we're not promoting, deforestation from Malaysia or, with palm oil and stuff like that. We're actually just using like vegetables that come from the Midwest, just like,
So your vegetables are still gonna be like kind of like locally sourced?
Yeah, totally. So it's like my source right now. I mean, the actual company is based in the western suburbs.
Okay.
But then they'll source it as local as possible. But we're talking like it'll be like kale and a lot of it is like legumes. So black beans, white beans, lentils, mushrooms, corn. Poblano peppers, chilies, things of those nature. Nothing's like, and there's no spices. So that's the other cool thing. Is like there's no. It's really just it's flavored because of the vegetables that I added, which is
so
kind of
interesting.
I know. I had like an epiphany. Like how
when I think of legumes, right? I just immediately think of like bean paste.
Yeah,
for the most part.
No, but these are actually like you can actually see the black beans.
Oh, okay.
No, the problem is right now with this and. Part of the reason I did want to show you guys is because it's not up to where I think you will, where it should be. Where I just feel like the meat's a little bit too coarse. Okay. It needs to be ground a little bit more. And then I think the vegetables need to spend just a little time in the grinder as well.
Chris, do you go camping at all?
I don't go camping necessarily.
Yeah.
I do a lot of fishing though.
Okay.
Right. So
well, this is then.
Yeah.
This is your go-to.
I pretty much like as a kid growing up.
Yeah. Or the snack sticks.
Snack sticks, jerky.
Yeah. That's
kind of like my go-to. And for like the longest time, my dad and uncle would only just make it like a day trip.
Mm-hmm.
But as we got older, we started spending a night or 2 nights, just kind of hanging out, fishing, and doing that thing. And it was pretty intense. Because in my head, like the first year I did that with my dad and my uncle, like, man, I can't live off of like, jerky and like meat sticks all day. I'm just going to be very constipated, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So that's when like my dad would just be, okay, he'll bring in like in a cooler, he'll bring like some vegetables and some protein products and rice. And we just go up to the we would have like a little lodging right off of the the little ramp where you would offload your boats. So we just stay there and just eat some more vegetables, right? To kind of supplement the amount of jerky we were eating.
Right.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just like, I just remember it as like the most amazing experience, you know, just growing up as a kid, just fishing, spending time with like, you know, your cousins and your uncle and your dad, just fishing. Even if you don't catch any fish, you know, it's still fun.
Right.
You know, as kids, you know, you do whatever you want and you can do anything.
Yeah.
And still have fun.
Go freedom.
Yeah. That's why it's like, I know we both, I don't know if you watched Anthony Bourdain or, you know, he's great.
He was incredible.
Yeah. And one thing he drove home all the time was like eat good food and like try to make good memories around the food.
Right.
And so the moment I saw, you know, jerky and sausages, I thought family, because like we do that a lot too.
Yeah.
And just traveling, so it's very nostalgic, and the fact that food can do that and that you play a role in that, that's awesome. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and yeah, food's a huge part of our my family's existence. You know, it can be maybe at times excessive, but it's a big part of bringing us together. I think it is for most people.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, ever changing as well.
Yeah. Do you do you write all the articles on Big Fork?
I write some of them.
Okay.
I sometimes outsource. If I find the right people.
Yeah.
It all depends.
Yeah.
That's why I brought up the camping.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't. How long do jerkies normally last?
If preserved right.
With preservatives, so these are all preservative free. With preservatives, you get usually around 1.5 to 2 years, which is crazy long. Like, you don't need to. Yeah. No. You know, that's
really long.
Well, I mean, if it takes you 2 years to sell your product, you should probably be in a different business.
Yeah.
So with ours, it's a year shelf life from manufacturing, and it really has more to do once you take out the moisture. Moisture is your culprit there.
Yeah.
Because, if you can take out the moisture and you have your pH where you need to be, and your salt level, because your salts are basically your preservative. You don't need to add the preservative in there. And it's really a good film is really important. And that's, I think, the next thing that's going to be moving on in the food world is really it really bothers me is the amount of plastic. You know, plastic is so much part of. I mean, this is. But
very sorry, everyone.
Yeah, but it's ambiguous to our lives. But it's really it's unfortunate that we'll be there soon in the food world, and I'm talking with some big players that have some stuff in Europe, and so it'll be moving to the U.S. soon. That's basically 100% compostable.
That's awesome.
But the problem is the shelf life is going to shrink.
Yeah,
because that's there. It'll start to degrade about 6 months. So it's going to turn our cycle of how often we're going to have to make this stuff and where we can sell it. So that's going to be some, and hopefully there'll be some technology changes.
Yeah.
So because it needs to happen, it's just it drives me crazy.
Yeah, I know.
The amount of plastic that's in our lives, and so that's a new push for me from a Big Fork perspective, is really trying to push that.
Sorry to backtrack, but
sorry.
What did you go through all the new products yet? You so the first one was plant-based, right?
Yeah. So I've got 3 flavors that are plant-based.
Okay.
So that's we're gonna launch it that way.
Yeah.
And we're gonna see on the food service side, and then if we can get a big retailer we'll probably pull an exclusivity with a retailer for 6 to 12 months, and then open it up to others. So depending on who we get. So
how many states are you in right
I mean, food service wise, we're almost in at least the lower 48. You can pretty much get anywhere through Cisco European imports.
Okay.
On the retail side, it's definitely much more Midwest focused. We're in all the Whole Foods throughout the Midwest, and then we have pockets everywhere. But then with the jerky and snack sticks, we can kind of ship these directly to anyone.
Right.
So it really kind of depends. And there are people, and there's like a couple stores in Tennessee that I'm selling to. There's a couple, and I'll just ship them direct too.
Yeah.
I'll just throw in an order. And so it's kind of
that's the beauty of online like grocery shopping.
And the beauty of a dried where I can ship it ground and it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
Because that's a hard thing about sausage is that it's that cold supply chain that needs to go all the way from it needs to be frozen from our manufacturer.
Yep.
All the way to the end user.
Yeah.
So that requires trucking and logistics that's been this has been a great opportunity to try new things because
you shipping anything to Japan yet?
No.
That would be awesome.
And there is a Bacon Fest Japan too.
You gotta go.
Really?
You do it.
Yeah. Same guys that do Iowa. They have one in Iceland and one in Japan.
So
that sounds awesome.
I will, yeah. As soon as we get an account in Japan,
dude,
I'm there.
It's gonna be awesome.
For sure.
Wow, I didn't know they had a Bacon Fest in Japan.
Yeah, they just had it like last month.
Wow. Oh shoot! So that's real new, real fresh.
Yeah.
Same with Iceland.
They did that. I think they do that in October. Basically, the guys that they're some great guys in Iowa, and I think they do some hunting in Iceland.
Okay.
And so they're like, oh, we'll do a Bacon Fest. And so they extended their trip another week. Oh man! And then it evolved, and then with Japan, I think I don't know. They're a cool bunch.
Yeah.
That's just
another podcast. You can take this on the road
for sure.
Yeah.
What's their name? What the group that runs it?
It's Blue Ribbon Bacon Fest.
Blue Ribbon Bacon.
I'd be happy to introduce you to those guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do they have any?
They were the one that kind of like I remember you sent us a video in the email. They're the ones that held the one in Colorado, correct?
Yeah, they did one in Keystone.
Yeah.
I've been there a couple times.
Okay.
They're a good group of guys.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We should start going to these fests and just like start a new
down.
show where we film just testing out food.
I'm so down to do that.
Idea.
Yeah, that's another idea right there. I'm really down to do that.
Yeah. There are a couple. Last time I was at Bacon Fest, there some podcaster influencer folks that were
they Asian?
Yes.
Timothy De La Ghetto probably.
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, you guys actually look. I mean, not to. I mean,
no,
okay. But it was like one of those like. It was.
It was like a tall guy and a short guy, right?
Yes,
dude, that's
super high energy, and
that's them. Yeah.
And they tried our. So we do a bacon wrap bacon sausage at the event.
I think I saw this up.
You probably
I didn't see that one.
They tried so that was Bacon Fest in Iowa.
Oh man, that's wild.
They it's a shit show, if I can say that. It's a party. It's not like the one here in Chicago. This one, the one in Chicago, it's great, but it's very prescribed, and it's all about the food.
Yeah.
Where in the Iowa, it's all about the party.
Yeah.
So
you said you went to school there too, right?
I went to school. I grew up in Iowa. I went to school in Montana.
Montana.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then culinary school in Denver.
Wow. When I think of Montana, the first thing I think of is just like
moose,
open pastures.
Yeah, a lot of good mountains.
Mm-hmm. I've always been wanting to go
good rivers.
Fishing's
amazing.
Yeah,
you're gonna talk about fishing.
Yeah, I want to fish.
That's the place to fish.
I should start a fishing channel.
What? All right,
just start all these channels.
Yeah.
Right
See,
now.
It's the ideas. It's always
exactly. No, I mean I've always had these ideas too, just like you.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like
the execution. That's the hard part.
I mean, it's kind of. I feel like we're a broken record for always bringing this up, but like, even this podcast was kind of like a we just went for it.
Yeah.
Like we both have been talking about it for a few months prior, Yeah, we both still work in the same company, but prior to our current company, we met at another job. And funny enough, we found out that we were related. We're cousins.
Yeah.
Far
You-
removed.
Yeah, it's weird.
You didn't know?
Nope.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, dude.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That's cool.
Like we've probably met as kids during like family like meetings where like, you know,
Big
everyone comes
events
together.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But we never personally met each other.
Yeah.
And
Imagine
that's
if you were
probably what
dating
happened.
a girl and she's like, "Oh wait, we're cousins." What the?
No,
That's
thanks.
fucked up.
I'd be like, pass.
So, do you both have like really big families? Is that?
So my immediate family over here is actually, I would say it's reasonable. It's reasonable. It's not too bad. And then like my extended family, so like my first cousins and my aunts and uncles, that kind of makes it a bit bigger.
Yeah.
And then from there we have, you know, the other relatives that are kind of related through marriage.
Yeah.
That's just scattered across the U.S. So the whole family, is big, is here. But as for immediate family, is like we're kind of centrated in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. That's nice. I don't have any family in Chicago. Used to had an aunt and uncle, but now it's
Just you.
now we're just creating our own. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
What as an entrepreneur, when do you know when to turn off like work? Because I know.
Ooh, yeah, that's
a big one.
That is a big
I
one.
know for a lot of entrepreneurs, like
You can work, burn. And then
burn
there were a
out
couple
fast.
years where it was like, I was burning hard.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was go time. And it was, and now I think it's, you hit this, you kind of hit a wall at some point where you're like, I can't, I'm like, I need to have a little bit more of a life. I need to see the family. I need to see my friends. I need to have a little more balance. And, you know, but it still ebbs and flows. I mean, honestly, even lately, it's just, you know, this is a busy time for us because we're selling direct to consumer business. So we're doing a lot of, you know, online orders.
oh man,
So
did you guys have like a Black Friday thing too?
Yeah, we did.
Oh man,
We did.
I can't even imagine.
Cyber Monday was huge for us.
Okay.
It was our biggest single day sales we've had direct to consumer. So it was good. But then at the same time, we still have all these other orders coming in, and then I'm now, you know, creating these new products. So it's like part of it, I just put the stuff on myself, you know, and you know we're, you know, pulling 2 products from Whole Foods and adding 2 more. So it's like it's a dance right now. But you know, I feel like also everyone's pushing right now because it's like before the holiday time. I just felt like, you know, as an entrepreneur, you know, the buck stops with me, you know. It's like, so I got to do it or else it's not going to get done.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll work a little bit on Saturday. You know, I put in like 3-4 hours yesterday, but I feel way better, and I'm not going to work tonight. You know.
Yeah.
And I try not to respond to emails.
Yeah.
Part of it's just focusing. I've learned to become more efficient on, you know, okay, like my Mondays, it's like I ship out samples and, you know, I try to block these things where, you know, before I was kind of like frenetic.
Yeah.
And you're doing like everything that you would do like now in blocks, but you do it all in one day, and then you do the same thing the next day.
Yeah, well, they do, you know, and then, you know, maybe Tuesday it'll be focusing on sales and just sales all day long.
How big is your team? Your immediate team?
It's just me, myself, and I.
Damn.
I mean, I outsource a lot of, like, today's, like, the way it works. I mean, I have, like, sales brokers.
Yeah.
I have an accountant. I have a bookkeeper. And then I outsource a lot. I work with Fiverr.
Okay.
Oh, Fiverr, yeah.
They're not a sponsor of this podcast, probably, but
They're not, unfortunately. It'd be pretty awesome, though. It'd be pretty awesome.
they are.
Shout out to Fiverr.
It's been a great source.
Yeah.
Like for these new labels for these new sausages. Oh, it's crazy. So I hired these guys.
Yep.
And they're like, "Oh, we're from Venezuela." I was like, "Oh,
What?
I was like, no, because you work from all over, and I was like, "Well, I studied in Venezuela."
where are you guys from? Merida. And I was like, no way, that's where I lived in Merida, which is like the mountainous part of Venezuela. I was like, that's so awesome. It's like, it was really a nice little neat story.
Yeah.
And so they're working on the artwork. You know, like I got it to a point where I was like, okay, here's my vision. Here's the story of how I want what it to look like. Mm-hmm. But it's like, I can spend another 30 hours on this.
Yeah.
But that's not my, I've taught myself all these things through like YouTube, basically.
Yeah.
I'm like,
likewise.
Yeah, I know. And you're like, okay, well, this is not my skill set.
Yeah.
And for a few $100, they will get me to the finish line.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll, do the finishing touches,
right.
some of the copy and all
it's
that
an
stuff.
investment for sure.
Yeah, so I'll things like that. It's like I have a pain with my website. It's like
that's just crazy, right? To like imagine, because like if you were like just dial it back like maybe 20, 30 years ago, right? 5 years ago,
yeah.
So like as an entrepreneur, right? Like just 5 years ago,
yeah.
To outsource and to kind of like run your own business. And to be able to be in contact with all these people like across the country and then across the globe, right? It's like, it's unheard of, right?
Totally.
Like labor costs and everything like that, just to kind of handle that would be through the roof. And then now it's like with the access of the internet and kind of like all these other companies or these startups like Fiverr, right? Where you found your graphic artists to kind of create these labels for your product.
Yeah.
They're in Venezuela, and you're able to connect with them, make that vision, and then have them do this.
Totally.
And just 5 years ago, as an entrepreneur, this was probably unheard of or very not even in the books to even think about.
Oh, right, yeah. And it's like, it's entrepreneurs that are helping other entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. It's like this wonderful little symbiotic relationship that we have. And like I got pictures for our jerky and snack sticks. Like I did like the rudimentary pictures just to put them up. Yeah. And it's been one of those things that's been bugging me for a long time. And finally I'm like, okay, just go do it.
Yeah.
So I found the right person on Fiverr, shipped them out the stuff, they sent it back. And like I didn't even open up the email for 3 days because I was like, I'm so busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then finally I uploaded them up to Amazon, and I swear to God, our sales are like, I could tell a difference between when I uploaded those and our sales now. It's like chink.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's great. And I'm like, why didn't I do this a year ago? You're kind of like, okay. So, going back to, I think, it's unfortunate that I sometimes, am by myself. It would be nice to have a partner. You guys are doing this together because you guys can bounce off questions. But
your wife helps you, right?
Yes. Yeah. She helps me. She helps me talk through a lot of different things. I try not to involve her in too many things just because, she's got her own full-time job and, mine can be annoying at times. But I keep in touch with a lot of other entrepreneurs and we meet up for a beer and chat
just kind of
things.
bounce off ideas.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
That.
Yes.
I feel like that's the beauty behind it. It's like when you actually have like-minded people, right, that are kind of like not necessarily in the same industry, but like, doing everything on their own, just like you are, you're more easily able to relate to them and they can understand where you're coming from a lot easier than it would be like, for instance, like, friends that like, work a 9 to 5 and people that are kind of like on this high horse where it's like, I'm gonna go the safe route, and just do this for the rest of my life, and then have a safe, safety net to kind of like fall back on. And then you have us that are kind of like in the middle still, right? Because we still need to make money to kind of like fund the podcast and everything like that.
Of course, no.
But yeah, it's like, it's crazy, like when you meet those people, like the like-minded people. It's like the amount of positive energy that they kind of spew is really, really crazy. Considering everyone's got their own struggles and they're kind of like making their ends meet as well, and they're just so positive still.
It's sometimes I feel entrepreneurs you have to lie to yourself almost at times.
Yeah, you do.
And because if you're really honest about how things are going, if you're truly honest, you're never going to succeed. Like, you have to actually, like, say, yeah, everything's fine, everything's great.
Yeah.
When, you're looking at
drowning
when you're looking at the finances, and you're like, okay, no, this is not okay.
This is not okay.
Yeah.
But I mean that's why for the first 5 years when I started Big Fork, I was consulting. It was like I needed that. I needed that money coming in.
Yeah.
And then just slowly as our sales grew, I was able to transition that out. Now, I've built a scalable company.
Yeah.
But we're still not, a massive, we're not a big brand, but I built the foundation.
Yeah.
Now it's like, okay, let's we need a couple lucky shots, and then we'll take it from there. And then I'd be excited to hire some people and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
So, any reason behind the name Big Fork? Is it Big fucking pork?
Oh, God.
That's what I was thinking of.
No, but
that's a good one though.
I haven't heard that.
Yeah.
No. Actually, it's funny. Most people say it. Well, a lot of people are like, "Oh, Big Pork." I'm like, it's actually Big Fork, and then sometimes they just let it slide. But it's actually coming back from my Montana roots. Mm-hmm. Big Fork is a town in Montana, and basically, I've got a weird family background with pigs. Like I grew up. I'm a family of sailors. My dad lives on a lake, and he's had a boat name that's called Hog Wild from like 1970.
All these little hints.
So yeah, I know it's weird.
Yeah.
And then so my boat was like all hogwash. My brother's, who was older, was Hog Wild too. And then it was like it went from there. As we moved into.
Your dad made these names for you guys?
And then he'd make these raunchy T-shirts, and it was like hilarious. All like
he planted it.
And so it was very it's been built.
Man.
It's been cooked in somehow. It's like been my destiny, and so and we were gonna call it Hog Wild after my dad's initial, but then we looked into and so my wife's she's in law, so she was able to help with all the trademark, and it was very crowded in when it comes to like the trademark of Hog Wild. There's like 6 or 7 other trademarks, and it was just like it was advised stay away from it. So we had to kind of pivot when we first started the business, and she came up with the idea. She was like, "Why don't you just call it Big Fork?" I was like, "Oh." Like, okay, let's do it. Let's move on. It's like
there you go.
And sometimes it's like how like you can you're as an entrepreneur, you kind of like some things will you'll hang up on a name or something that will like stop you from actually moving forward.
Yeah.
When you should just be like, okay, forget about it. Let's move. Let's deal with everything else, and then we'll figure this on. It was like that was the whole name thing was like slowing us down. I was like, okay, fine, let's just go. Let's go with Big Fork. Let's move on.
I remember that. It's like, we were at a coffee shop. We're like, what should we call this?
Funny enough, we were at a friend's coffee shop, and we were trying to figure stuff out at the same time. And then I don't know how we just kind of like came up with the idea of the TheEatingCast as eating became an acronym.
Yeah, because eating, it's capital E and T in eating for eating and talking.
Okay.
So it just kind of worked out. We're like, that worked out.
Yeah, it just somehow worked out. I don't know how.
But like you said, that being able to move past that's like the first barrier. It doesn't even have to be a barrier, but
in your mind, I think it is, and that's the thing. It's like,
barrier.
and sometimes you just have to like push it to the side.
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure that out later. Let's get all these other things because starting any businesses, there's just so many pieces involved.
Yeah.
And sometimes, at least for me, it's like, but I haven't done this, and this is these steps that I take. Like,
I think for us, like,
skip a
very
moment.
early on, too, it was just because it was just that thing, right? It's just that idea, we're just like throwing it out there, and then we had those friends that were like, "You should really think about doing this. We really think it'd be a good idea." And then, literally, one of our buddies said, "You know what? I'll get you the microphone."
Cool.
Got us the microphone, and then and then he was like, "What's holding you back now?"
Because he's like, I got it for you, It's like,
and then
now
we
he's
were like
poking you.
Yeah.
And then we were like, man, nothing.
Right?
No,
excuses now.
Yeah,
He's
like, all right, we gotta go do it now.
Get started.
Now it's just time. Now it's just a little time, and
yeah. Literally put your money where your mouth is. Like, shit. Okay.
And slowly but surely, we're getting a little bit more to that soundproofing to help
see
improve that
Yeah.
audio quality. But
for sure,
you kind of learn as you go as a
of course
an entrepreneur, right?
You make mistakes, but just
that's
learn from them. That's all.
Yeah.
My advice is I just try not to duplicate the same mistake.
Yeah. They say turn your L's into lessons, right?
Yep.
Don't take them as a loss.
Yep.
And going back to how you meet up with entrepreneurs or you have friends that support your work, I feel like what the real ones are not the ones that are yes men. Like, yeah, you should do this. Yeah, you should do that. You should have people that are also
super cool.
ground you and are critical and like, yeah, you should kind of think about this. Like,
yeah. I use my kids all the time because they're brutally honest.
Yeah,
with like new products.
And like, I don't like this one.
Oh yeah, they're like they don't care. You know. Yeah.
What'd you put in this? I feel funny.
No. Let's not go that route now.
Yeah. Not yet.
Yeah. Cool. So that's pretty much it.
Any questions?
No, we didn't. We didn't get questions.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
I know.
It's all good. But yeah. So I guess with that said, my thing is now is like, what is like kind of like one thing that if you had to leave like our listeners kind of like from everything that you've been through. What's the one piece of advice aside from what we just talked about? Would you leave our listeners in pretty much whether they're in that middle point, when wanting to jump the gun from their 9 to 5 to actually pursue their passions, people in school trying to figure out what they want to do, or even just professional people wanting to start something on the side?
I mean, I think some people are made to be entrepreneurs. Some people are made to be leaders. Some people are made to be worker bees. I think it's all about understanding who you are and have a good self-reflection upon and an honest about who you are as a person. Because, it might be cool to be like the next Elon Musk, but like there's only certain people that can do that, I mean, I agree. And I mean, the thing is like I love being an entrepreneur, but I love getting my hands dirty and working. Like I'm also kind of a worker bee.
Yeah.
So and as an entrepreneur, you have to be. Yeah. But I'm not. I will tell you right now. Like I'm probably, if Big Four goes, I am probably not like the CEO boss. Like that's not my role. Like I'm more of an entrepreneur. Yeah. Like I know that. Like if this goes big, like I'm not gonna be there to manage people. I'm not a good manager. Like I am one of those people that's like I can lead through example. Yeah. But if this goes and we get 20 people and it's gonna be one of those where I'm gonna get kicked out and and I'll be happy with it. You'd be like, okay, I'm done and I'm moving on. I'm gonna do something else. Wow. So no, but I know where I fit really well, and I think as a listener, I think it's really have figure out where you fit in the puzzle of a business, and because it's a struggle at times, but as long as you have a firm understanding of what you do best, or what brings you joy too, and also like if you can keep the day job, and then do this side hustle on the side, I mean, so what? So you work a little bit more. So you're your friends are watching the Bears game right now, but while you're working, you know what? That's okay. I'll take that. But I'm not afraid of work. I think it's like if you are afraid of work, keep your day job and just be that worker bee.
A quick follow up for that is how do you keep that passion burning without feeling burnt out? Because you're chasing that passion. That's what you love to do. So.
Truly, yeah. I mean, part of it's like I keep doing new products. This before I launched the jerky and snack sticks, it was just the sausage, and I was getting totally burnt out.
Okay.
This totally reinvented, and gave me a whole, like, it filled my sail. Like I was often sailing, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
So that's, I think, part of it is because that's also, I was learning new things, like learning, like designed our website, like that was a huge, great, cool learning process. I'm always trying to push myself and get out of just, get out of the kitchen and, being just a chef. It's like, that's a tough work, but it's also, I wanted to do other things. And that's what I think I love about business. I think the same thing with most entrepreneurs. It's like, oh, wow, we can learn how to design. Like, I designed all this. Not that it's technically all that great, the labels and all that stuff. But I did all that, and it was stuff you learn on YouTube. And that's the other beautiful thing that we live in the day that we're, it's like, you have any questions?
No excuses.
No excuses.
You can
totally.
teach yourself.
Yep. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So
that's the beauty behind it too. It's like we're in a day and age where if whatever you need, it's literally in your fingertips. In terms of like, if you need to learn how to code, if you need to learn how to edit, if you need to learn how to kind of like, let's say, you've never cooked before, and you need a quick recipe for the holidays.
Totally.
It's like, okay, awesome. I got that.
Or if you don't want to do it, you can outsource it too.
Exactly.
It's like,
now you can.
Yeah.
And if you can't afford internet or whatever, library card is free.
Yes.
Right? It is.
And
I think it's
yeah,
free.
I mean,
so just go to the library.
Yeah. And
That's true.
They've got some cool stuff at the library.
Yeah.
Our library down in our neighborhood, they have like 2 3D printers now.
What?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Is it the
Schulter on Lincoln Ave? It's Lincoln Square.
Yeah. Okay.
They have like this teenage group area, and it's like there's 2 3D printers. It was so
sick.
Wild.
Sweet. Yeah, I'm like,
huh?
That's awesome.
Yeah. So
everything's at our fingertips.
Yeah.
There's no excuses.
Any last promotions you want to?
Oh God, no. I mean, it's Big Fork Brands. That's our bigforkbrands.com.
Okay.
Website.
Instagram, Big Fork Brands.
Yeah, support small local businesses wherever they are.
Exactly.
Because all that money goes back to the community.
Awesome. And again, Lance, we just want to say thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys.
And to our listeners and our viewers, we just want to thank you guys for tuning in on this episode. And we will see you, or actually, before I even close it.
Oh, yes.
You want to plug this in?
Yes. To our listeners, remember, subscribe to our YouTube, follow us on Instagram. I'm always opening up the question box, so DM us whenever we have guests. We love our participation that you guys give us. And don't forget to review and rate our podcast. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
And YouTube as well.
Yeah. We love the support. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Take care.
Bye-bye.
And bye-bye.